Giving all praises and glory to our power Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom and Shalom. I was looking here, just looking around, and I actually saw three things that were interesting here. Well, not in this one article, but three different articles that is kind of interesting. And we're not gonna read all of it. I'm just gonna hit little points here, like the bold sections. So this first one says Russia, China demand that U.S. immediately release Maduro from custody. All right, and so I mean, whoever ain't living under a rock already know what recently has been going on with America and Venezuela, and then supposedly they just took they stole the king from his bed along with his wife. All right, and took him into custody, and there he is right there at the left. So it says within mere hours after President Trump announced the Saturday capture by U.S. forces of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife after a brief shock bombing campaign and special forces operation in Caracas, Russia has demanded from Washington his immediate release, which I believe we had a clip on that, a news clip on that. We firmly call on the U.S. leadership to reconsider this position and release the lawfully elected president of a sovereign country and his wife, the Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement, and described that the crisis should be resolved through diplomatic means. Now, there's not too many people speaking up. When I say people, I'm not talking about the citizens of different countries, because there are people protesting about it, and there's people that are happy about it. All right, I'm talking about heads of countries, all right, like Putin or whatever. Not too many people are speaking up about it, but everybody has seen what America's done. It says Russia will continue to support the course pursued by its Bolivarian leadership to defend the country's national interests and sovereignty, the Foreign Ministry said, while also calling for restraint and cautioning against further escalation. Moscow's demand that the U.S. release and return Maduro, which is extremely unlikely at this point, yeah, I'm pretty sure, comes amid rumors that Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez Gomez is actually in Moscow. Russian officials have called these rumors and reports fake, however. Let me see, I'm gonna jump down here. What else is down here? China has joined. There you go. Well, let's read through that. It says Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, meanwhile, said he held a phone conversation with Gomez, during which he conveyed his solidarity with Venezuelan people in the face of armed aggression. According to Venezuela's national constitution, the vice president assumes the power of the presidency, but amid the quick power vacuum opening up, it's anyone's guess what leadership in the country will look like even by next week. China has joined Moscow's call for the immediate release of Maduro from U.S. custody. Right? I mean, China has joined Moscow's call. All right, for the immediate release of Maduro from U.S. custody. All right. So China has called on the United States to immediately release Venezuelan president. All right, Nicolas Maduro. Yeah, Nick Mad, after Washington carried out massive military strikes on the capital, Caracas, as well as other regions, and abducted the leader. Beijing on Sunday insisted the safety of Maduro and his wife Celia Flores be a priority, and called on the U.S. to stop toppling the government of Venezuela, calling the attack a clear violation of international law. Right? Russia's embassy in Caracas has made it clear it is continuing to operate normally. Here we go. There are reports that 40 people total died during the assault, possibly most at the large military bases struck in and around the capital, as the New York Times writes. I've seen several news clips, but nothing mentioned about casualties, right? Even exchange of fire, but nothing mentioned about casualties. All right, so 40 people total died in the assault. At least 40 people were killed in the U.S. attack on Venezuela early Saturday, including military personnel and civilians. But they don't say which side. I'm pretty sure they're not talking about American side when they talk about military personnel. Pretty sure that it's not talking about them, and of course civilians would be the Venezuela side of things, but also the military is probably talking about Venezuela too. So I'm pretty sure America didn't lose anybody. At least 40 people were killed in the U.S. attack on Venezuela early Saturday, including military personnel and civilians, according to a senior Venezuelan official who spoke on condition of anonymity to describe preliminary reports. All right, so that's pretty much all I want to get out of that one. Yeah, I'm gonna jump up and grab this other one. So yeah, Russia, China demand that U.S. immediately release Maduro from custody. Okay. Now that last article we read was actually the last article that I saw. This is the second article. And then there's one more, which was the first one that I saw. So let's jump into it real quick. It says Chinese social media explodes. U.S. invasion of Venezuela, a template for move on Taiwan. All right, Chinese social media explodes. U.S. invasion of Venezuela, a template for a move on Taiwan. Because basically, as we just read in the last one, that was a violation of international law, right? You know, not Taiwan, Venezuela being its own sovereign country, and America going in and doing unsovereign things, right? And like that, basically like what they're threatening with Iran now, which, you know, they're staging some things from the inside, but, you know, instead telling Iran, you know, if civilians die, we're going to come in, and if I'm correct, civilians have died. So we'll see what America's going to do, or we'll see what the Lord is going to do with America. Like, is he going to have them actually, you know, move forward with it, or is he going to let the situation die down for a little bit and maybe pick up at another note? All right, because we always have to keep that in mind, that things move according to the Lord. All right, so things may not just spark off, but, you know, and the scriptures say that he does not move nor stir to the said measure be fulfilled, right? A fascinating new report by Bloomberg on Sunday has observed a huge uptick in Chinese social media users weighing in on the decades-long Taiwan independence crisis in relation to President Trump's weekend overthrow of Venezuelan President, right, Nicolas Maduro. Okay, Trump's operation against the Venezuelan strongman shot to the top of China's Weibo late Saturday, with the topic gaining some 440 million views on the X-like platform. Many commentators were quick to make comparisons between the fate of the South American nation and that of the self-ruled democracy Beijing has vowed to claim. Like the long-building military showdown between the United States and Venezuela, Taiwan has been a flashpoint in mainland China's shadow. It is small in comparison with China's population and military might, but the situation is in inversion, with Washington having long-armed Taiwan to the teeth. Okay, and you know, both Russia and China had a little stake in Venezuela, especially China. All right, because China, because there was oil going to China, but also, if I'm correct, China actually just put money into Venezuela, and then American came. You know, first they stole oil, all right, like pirates, and then now they've come and done this. Okay, so, you know, that's very hurtful to both China and Russia. But, you know, China also put money, okay, into the country, because I think we read an article on that recently. So yeah, you know, China is kind of double hit on that one, because now the oil supply obviously going to be cut from them, and then the money that they just put into Venezuela while Nicolas Maduro was still around, it's just gone now. All right, so it's just money in the drain, because America's about to take over, and, you know, claiming that we're going to take over until, which there is no until. Okay, because the until will be until they set up a puppet, and then they'll still be in control. Just, it's going to look like until, but, you know, we get it. Okay, it says this fact is obvious enough to spark an avalanche of commentary, with Bloomberg citing one Weibo post and thread among many, which said, "I suggest using the same method to reclaim Taiwan in the future." There you go. And that's what I want to get to, right? Okay, I was trying to light it up. Okay, I didn't know I was going to be able to do it or not. I'm on my tablet. Yeah, wow, since you use my tablet. Okay, Okay, I'm not lighting up properly. There you go, light it up. Okay, so that's what he said in the Weibo post and thread among many, which said, I suggest using the same method to reclaim Taiwan in the future. Why are they saying this? Because America just did something that was illegal. Now, we talked about this before. This was way back when Biden was in the presidency. He had a talk with Xi Jinping. Oh, they had a meeting. Oh, they shook hands. Oh, we get it. Oh, we're in agreement. You know, no one's going to stop this and that. And what did the devil do? What the devil does. He went home and ignored it, right? After the meeting. Okay. So basically the point I'm making is China was saying that we're not going to stop trying to take back Taiwan because it belongs to us. As long as you don't get in the way, things are fine between us. Biden, okay, cool, yep. And then turn around and of course not, right? America's in their business, okay? And then now you have Trump in the seat. And as I think it was in the last one of these articles here, I think it was just in this one about arming Taiwan. Yeah, I think it was right up here. Yeah, Washington having armed Taiwan to the teeth. Okay, so there you go. We know America's backing Taiwan up. Okay, but what are they to say? You know, because I mean, they're probably going to say something anyways if it happens. But the point I'm making is that will make them hypocrites, which we know that doesn't matter to them. Okay. In fact, it makes me think about when he came into office, he talked about the expansionist president, right? Canada, the 51st state or whatever, you know, Canada is going to be new state of America, right? Or we're going to buy, what was it, Greenland. We're going to change the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. All right, now they're going Venezuela. So are they not expanding just like the ancient Roman Empire expanded? Because this is their golden age, right? They're talking about building a golden dome, all these different things. Like the Pax Romana was the golden age for the ancient Rome. Well, America is the revival of ancient Rome. So of course the empire would expand, and that's exactly what they're doing. But we're at the end of this empire, okay? So eventually, it doesn't matter, you know, what they do at this point. At some point, the Lord's going to bring it all to a close, which is going to be through World War III, which is going to end up in the destruction of Babylon the Great. But let's keep going. It says, I suggest using the same method to reclaim Taiwan in the future, in reference to Beijing's design on reuniting the self-ruled island with the mainland. Yep. And that's what you see, the self-ruled island with the mainland, because they're saying it belongs to us. And I'm pretty sure they could probably prove it. But, you know, we don't care. We're not Chinese or Taiwanese or whatever. That's their business. Another user said the U.S. imperialist lightning raid on Venezuela to capture Maduro and his wife provides a perfect blueprint for our military to launch a surprise attack on Frog Island and seize Taiwanese President Lai Ching. Ooh, see, look, see, they're saying, see, because Babylon did this. I don't even know what to call it, but you know, Babylon this strike, okay, on Venezuela, okay, to get Maduro. They're saying that we can use this same method to go and capture Lai Ching-te, and then we'll have control over Taiwan. And just say, well, they probably won't even do that, you know, because America said we'll take over until such and such. But you know, you get the point with China, right? If they take Lai Ching-te, then they're just going to take over, all right? Because they're not going to play the games that America plays. But they're saying if America did it, we can do it. And who's to say anything opposite, especially America, because they just did something that was illegal. All right. So another user said the U.S. imperialist lightning raid on Venezuela to capture Maduro and his wife provides a perfect blueprint for our military to launch a surprise attack on Frog Island and seize Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te, which utilized a popular derogatory term for Taiwan. So these are the people who actually want China to take Taiwan. There are some of these people that are saying these things. Okay, so it's not just, you know, the leader and, you know, the military or whatever. There's actually citizens that, you know, are backing us up too. Look, China has joined Russia in demanding the immediate release of Maduro, with the foreign ministry saying it was deeply shocked by the blatant use of force against the sovereign state. Okay, see, because they basically violated their sovereignty. I mean, how else you gonna say it, right? It says, I don't expect today's events in Venezuela will dramatically shift Beijing's calculus on Taiwan. Privately, I expect Beijing will emphasize to Washington that it expects to be given the same latitude for great power exemptions to international law that the U.S. takes for itself. See, there you go. He added, citing China's operations in the South China Sea, where it has territorial disputes with U.S. allies and other regional neighbors. Indeed, under Trump, it is a new day. Not only does he speak the truth out loud, no longer merely hiding behind platitudes like spreading democracy in the name of the rules-based order. He unapologetically just invades countries he doesn't like, as the foray in Caracas makes clear. Yeah, because he has a script he has to go by. All right, and these elites know they have a short time, like it says in Revelation 12:12. They have a short time. Okay, so they got to go ahead and do what they got to do, roll out the plans, whatever the case may be. But really, what they're doing is just carrying out the will of the Lord. All right. So yeah. It says the U.S. has long condemned Moscow doing just this in Ukraine or in Georgia over a decade ago. The Kremlin has reacted this weekend to the Venezuela intervention by saying, just watch the double standards in motion. Beijing, without doubt, is signaling the same thing. It is asking, essentially, if the U.S. can do this in its own backyard, invade a small nuisance country, then why can't China do the same? All right, so basically, to put it into perspective, U.S., big country, Venezuela is the nuisance and smaller. You know, it's like the I don't know, it's like a rhino going up against the deer. Okay, so it says, I'm looking for it. Okay, yeah. Invade a small. Yep, the I was looking for it. It said before. Okay, yeah. So I thought it said something different, but yeah, you get the point. Yep, the small nuisance country being Venezuela, and so then they're liking China to America, and then Taiwan being the small nuisance country. So why can't we do the same if America just did it? See, and it's that post. Time to watch the double standards in real time. So let me roll back up real quick. Yep, Chinese social media explodes. U.S. invasion of Venezuela, a template for move on Taiwan. We got one more. All right, here's our last one, which is actually the first one I saw. So it says, cocaine mills. Trump puts 3 more Latin American countries on notice. All right, Trump's put 3 more Latin American countries on notice. All right, and these are what? Israelites. All right, which is probably not the main reason here, but at the same time, look at this guy here. Cubans for Trump, right? Trump's ready to, crack some Cuban, So it says President Trump soon after the overnight into early Saturday brief invasion of Venezuela and nabbing of President Nicolas Maduro, now in U.S. custody on American soil, put more Latin American countries on notice, calling them essentially cocaine mills, right, which ship poison to the United States. We gotta light this up, all right, because he's using the same playbook, all right, again, okay, to go after others, right? And there's one in particular which is interesting, which is next. It says essentially cocaine mills which ship poison to the United States. The not so veiled warnings and threats were issued to the governments of Mexico, right, Colombia, right, Cuba. Okay, and so what's very interesting is Mexico. Who we know, Mexico is one of those insiders there. All right, this chick that they got set up here. So we could tell this is all a stage show, all right, for whatever thing is being planned here. But anyways, Mexico, Colombia, and Cuba, the latter, it says the latter which has been a Washington enemy stretching many decades back into the height of the Cold War. Talking about Cuba, okay, which now also mentioning Colombia, it was an older article, it might have been this year, where they was making a thread about not awakening the jaguar. Okay. So, and then you had the Venezuela situation, ramping up to the point that it is now, which is obviously over with now. All right. But yeah, so now you got Mexico just magically being thrown in the mix. Okay, now what's going on behind the scenes, is one thing, but the actual people there, well, they're still, the tribe of Issachar, right? These are still so-called Mexicans. So nonetheless, you got more Israelite territories here. In the comments, Trump again called Maduro as a narco-terrorist while fielding a question about the implications for neighboring countries before linking the Venezuelan leader to his ally, Colombian President Gustavo Petro. All right, he has cocaine mills, he has factories where he makes cocaine, and they're sending it into the United States, Trump said of the Colombian leader, adding he does have to watch his ass. All right, and on Cuba, the warning was more veiled, as he described his administration as going to be something we'll end up talking about, as Washington suppose wants to help the people of this failing nation akin to Venezuela. See, there's the same, he had two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon, right? So we're going to give you a reason why your country's all shot to pieces, and then we're going to give you also an ultimatum that we're going to fix it, all right? And we're going to start with your leader. So same playbook, right? Or same play, I should say, because it still is the same playbook, but it's the same play. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we also want to help the people who were forced out of Cuba and are living in this country. He continued, and hold on now. Oh boy, hold on now. After we also want to help the people who are forced out of Cuba and are living in this country. Now, last time I checked, first term and current term, you were the one talking about building up a wall. Oh, migrants, immigrants, oh, this and that. Oh, Biden, he left the wall open. Just open our country up. Now, all of a sudden, you want to help these people. Come on, man, stop the capping. He continued in reference to Trump's own significant support base among Cuban Americans. Among them, and when you go and talk about ICE don't give a damn if you're illegal or illegal. If you look like you fit the description, and they stop you, they roll you out of there. Okay, you could have been living here all your life. Papers that you're an American citizen, they roll you out of there. All right. Now, a few people have been released, but a few is nothing to the many that have been taken away, whether they were legally here or illegally here, and they've not come back. Okay, I mean, we were hearing about the flights, the shackled people, washing up on the flights. But then you got the facilities, Alligator, Alcatraz, the bad conditions, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, so it says among the more interesting and somewhat post-Venezuela regime change remarks by Trump were aimed just south of the border. Trump again put left-wing, or perhaps more accurately center-left Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo on notice. Right, and you know what she's about, so no surprise there. But that's the mix-up right there. She's one thing, but the actual people, those are Israelites. Trump described that the drug when Esau's done it everywhere. You don't think there's Edomites that look like Saudis? It look like Chinese people. It look like Africans and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they got Edomites all over. Anyways, Trump described that the drug cartels are basically running the country, and that something's going to have to be done with Mexico, and that the government is frightened of them. They're running Mexico. I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please. Yeah, Trump said that. He definitely said that. Those are Trump words right there. All right, because the dude, you could tell how he's self-centered, right? And every situation about him. Anyway, so we have to do something, he said in the phone interview with Fox. Mexico had quickly condemned the U.S. military action in Venezuela, as predictably the Colombian leader too. Petro has described Washington's actions as an assault on the sovereignty of Latin America, and many other BRICS and other global South countries have said the same. As for Cuba, the U.S. has over decades been essentially looking for an excuse in a give us a reason kind of a way, while all along keeping brutal sanctions on Havana. Will Trump now have his reason for getting more muscular on Cuba? And that's the end of that article there. I grabbed something real quick. Let me get something for. Alright, anyways. So it says cocaine mills. Trump puts 3 more Latin American countries on notice. So this dude is he's feeling himself right now. But once again, we know that he has a script. He has to go by. Alright. He's got to do what he's got to do. Now, give me a second here. Alright, this is the book of Daniel chapter 7. I'm going to start at 19. It says, then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured it, breaking pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. Now, if you read up further in the chapter, around verse 7, it's talking about the ancient Roman Empire. Now, of course, it's not going to say that straight out, but it's talking about the ancient Roman Empire. And then in verse 8, it's talking about America. And there's a connection between verses 7 and 8. So it lets you know America is a revival of the ancient Roman Empire, which that can be backed up also in the Revelation 11 chapter. It says, of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. The Revolutionary Wars, French, Spanish, British, right? Even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. This is referring to that verse 8, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And I want to get the word stout here, which is Rob, which is great. Okay. Also says captain or chief. Look, captain, chief, great lord, master, stout. And we know that America is known as what? The hammer of the earth. I'll have the hammer of the earth been cut asunder. Babylon the Great, right? The mistress of witchcraft or whores or something like that, and many other things. As a matter of fact, hold on. Yeah, Quran, horn. All right, and it has a musical interest. Well, it doesn't say here. But Quran, in certain scriptures, when you go into it, it will actually say strength or power or something like that. I'm not sure if we can get to it. There you go. See, of strength. All right, of strength. Okay. So let me go back again. So yeah, even though that horn that had eyes, which is talking about America, and a mouth that spake very great things. Yeah, because it says it has 2 horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon, right? Whose look was more stout than his fellows. Okay, and you know that America supposedly has allies, or however you want to call them, but really they're subject under them as vassal states. All right, NATO and the EU. Right, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, which was the Israelites, and prevailed against them. I'm gonna jump down here because I want to get another scripture here. Yeah, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy unto the end. Okay, and I wanted to jump down and get that verse because ultimately, after all this boasting and territorial takeovers and all these underhanded things that they do and just going around just throwing their weight around, it's not going to end well for them. I want to get. Alright, this is the book of Obadiah. We're going to end it off here. Basically off that point about them, being stout. Because, with his power that was given to him, going back to his blessing, the fatness of the earth and the dew from heaven above. Alright, and he shall live by the sword. Take peace from the earth with that great sword. Alright, we're living at the end of this man's rulership. And he knows it, okay? So, he wants to... accelerate his enterprise, and you know, he's not really he's not really, you know, strategizing. He's kind of sloppy with how he's moving, but you know, nonetheless, to make the point. All right, you know, ultimately he's going to be taken out of the way, on which all the nations are going to be, you know, moved out the way. But we're talking about Esau in particular, you know, Babylon the Great, because, you know, like we read, his look was more stout than his fellows. Okay, and you know, even their allies have been treated, you know, like they mean nothing, which they really don't mean anything. So I think he made that one thread about saying that, yeah, I would, you know, allow Russia to attack whoever it was, simply because they weren't meeting their defense spending, and you know, so all, you know, throwing these threats or whatever, because I can't really call them attacks, but threats at their own allies. Okay, and so these nations, they may not act on it, right? Because America does have that power over them, but they keep these things in the back of their minds, man. All right, all these people that are so-called allies, Japan, you know, places, you know, all these different people, all right, that are supposed to be on the American side of things, they're not forgetting. Okay. Oh, bear with me, man. My goodness. All right, Obadiah 1. There's a vision of Obadiah. Thus said the Lord, power Yahweh, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Okay, so it says concerning Edom, let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Okay, and you have even certain nations making, you know, strategical alliances where, you know, they're being you know, equipped properly, you know, to fight a war, okay, against Babylon the Great. All right, speaks about that also in Isaiah 14 chapter, man, and that has become as weak as we. Okay, it says the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. See, and that's what Esau is doing right now. He's operating towards pride, but he was given that. Okay, he was given that. He was given his agenda. All right, he was created to do what he's doing, and it's his pride that fuels him. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, which is mine, who shall bring me down to the ground? Because he feel like nobody can stop him. He feel like, you know, I'm about to do this new world order enterprise, and I'll be God, and the real God doesn't exist, or if he does, he can't stop me. Well, we don't know what the hell Esau thinks, but we get it. Okay. I mean, because we know what he thinks, but nobody really knows what Esau thinks. We don't know what the heck kind of brain the Lord gave him. But you get the point. He truly thinks he's going to pull off this enterprise, not knowing that the Lord says when he's about to fill its belly, all right, he's going to shut him down, man. Okay, shut the game down. All right, but continuing on with the point, though. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's where he's right now. He's at the height of his pride, because he knows he's at the top. And though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, said the Lord Yahweh. Okay, and that's what we see slowly happening, man. All right, and the Lord is slowly deteriorating this man and his society, all right, and everything he stands for, but he's still in power. So this is a process. Okay, if thieves come to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would not they have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? And that's the opposite of what Esau does. He's a bloodthirsty thief. All right, he'll take everything you got, won't leave anything, and then he wants blood. And then even with blood, he's not satisfied. The scripture says, "Sith thou hast not hated blood, blood shall pursue thee." How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? There's another link right there to Isaiah. Okay, uncover thy locks, make bare the legs. I think there's another one. Is that in the book of Psalms where it says their own sons shall fall upon themselves? Wherever it is, there's another one though. But there's several ways, because the Lord has these whistleblowers and stuff like that. So many different ways that the Lord is exposing this man. All right, and their skirts are lifted. Okay, and then that's why all of a sudden you got this the Department of War, and all these crazy Pete Hegseth speeches and stuff like that, and they're boasting themselves because they feel themselves at the height of their power, and they and they don't know that once they get to that extreme point, is the same point where they're going to get taken down. And here's the point when they get down to verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Because everybody's watching, everybody's seeing what America's doing, but nobody's really saying anything. There's few people saying speaking up about it, but nothing's gonna happen, man. Just like what with this dude Netanyahu, he's supposed to be in the International Court of Justice. Ain't nothing happened to this dude yet. But meanwhile, you had Putin, who was they were looking for him, and if he was going to come to the meeting that was going to be in Africa, he was going to be arrested. So come on, man, you see what's happening here, all right? But it shows you the power that America, sways over the earth by its vassal states, like the scriptures talk about, the vassal states, NATO and EU, right? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, because this is ultimately what's going to happen, man. Because you can see America doesn't care about anybody except for themselves and their agenda. And if you are not with them, you are against them. If you don't benefit them, they will drop you. And if you have something they want, they will also drop you. And what did Pete say? We will find you and we will fix you. And when he said fix you, he meant we will kill you. And guess what? They've killed many. Well, it's the Venezuela situation. They found them, they killed them, and now they finally got what they wanted: Venezuela and the oil. All right, we will find you and we'll fix you. Right? He said that, and when he said fix, he meant kill you. All right, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread. All right, yep. All these United Nations together. What's that? Psalms 83rd chapter. All you that came together. All right. What's that? Revelation 18th chapter. All you merchants of the earth, y'all, America's your cash cow. Y'all make money. You all make money off of Babylon the Great. Moses stemming off the backs of the Israelites. So y'all with her. Okay? But the Lord is going to put the spirit upon you to turn against her. Revelation 17th chapter. Yeah, I think it's 17th chapter. At the end of that chapter, it talks about that. Fulfilled. I just have to get it. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Alright, so yeah. And they're not gonna know what hit them when finally that time comes. But it's not quite here yet. And we can close it off. Because I already made the point. 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. See, that's their allies turning against them. Eventually it's going to come. Okay? World War III is already here. It's just not to the escalator point that we're looking for. Alright? But it's definitely already here. The MOTB is really here. It's just not to the point that we are looking for it yet, where it's mandatory. Like, this is the new thing. Because the CHIP's already here. The system's pretty much already here. But it's not yet mandatory. It's not at the point we're looking for. World War III is happening. It's just not at the point we're looking for. Jacob's Trouble is happening, but it's not at the point we're looking for. See? But ultimately, through it all, you can go back to the war part, right? Eventually, the allies are going to turn against them and forsake her and shoot their missiles, and because this is everybody's chance to get America out of the way, right? That's why we got to be on the chariots, because if not, you die here. It says, thee shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For the highest that put in their hearts, their minds. See, the Most High had put in their minds to fulfill his will, because the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast as part of the system, as vassal states under America, the hammer of the earth, the bully, the man whose look was more stout than his fellows, whose words were softer than oil, all right, who had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, yeah, all right, Babylon the Great, and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High should be fulfilled. which is destruction of it by missiles, man. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, Babylon. Alright? So, I'm not going to force it. Got interrupted quite a few times there, so I'm just going to leave it there. Lord willing, you edify to the next thing I'm going to say. Shalom.